good year a couple years ago, kind of struggled last year. What have you heard about kind of what went wrong for him last year?
I'll be honest, I don't know what went wrong, but we all have our off times or even a year. A pitcher can have that, but he's had a pretty nice career, with that power sinker and slider. He's throwing strikes here. He looks good. He stays at the bottom of the zone, attacks the zone with both pitches, and I think it's been a good spring for him up to this point, and so I'm looking forward to see him every time he goes out because he's part of the competition to make this bullpen.
What do you for Castillo, and you have a lot of the veteran non-roster relievers in here, what do they have to do to stand out and kind of win one of those spots?
Yeah. Like all of them, you look for them to control the strike zone, command it, and show the stuff that they normally would have. And he's pretty close. He's been, hitting 94, 95 lately, and that works when you can command it. The slider, he's got experience. He's a guy that could help us really anywhere in the bullpen when he's throwing well. I'm talking about high leverage situations. So I just think the rest of them, I'll put them in the same boat. It's going to be really difficult at the end because our guys are throwing well across the board. That's probably what's excited me about this camp more than anything is how well our pitching has been doing, and the strikes they're throwing, the quality strikes, and the pace that they have out there. It's been impressive to watch these guys.
Have you liked what you've seen from Dane so far in the starts?
Yeah, I have. Dane. His last start, he admitted, the legs weren't quite there. He's off a tad there, but still, he finds a way. He's a pitcher, and he can hit the corners, but he's got a lot of deception. He's not a guy you look up there, he's 95, but it plays like that because he hides the ball well, and he's got the slider, curveball, changeup. So, no, Dane's right on pace to be ready to go when we start the season.
On Jared Walsh, he's played well the first week or so here. Not a whole lot of open spots for position players on this roster. What does his path look like?
Well, he's playing well. He's doing what he needs to do, and that's all he can control. And swinging the bat very well. He's a good defender. Wasn't too long ago where he had a really, really big year, and he's, looks like he's got his timing. He's turning around some good fastballs this spring. That's what I like about what he's been doing. And of course, yesterday he goes oppo, and I know it's here in Arizona, but he hit that ball well. He hit it very well, and he's got a lot of energy. So he's going to give us some good options here at the end. The way he's playing, because he can play outfield too. He can, first base, DH. So we'll see how it plays out. But he's doing what he needs to do right now.
What have you seen from Zeke kind of defensively as he kind of moves around a couple of spots here in spring? Yeah,
I'll be honest. He's got a little work to do, Zeke, because we have him moving around, and I know, and that's why we're here. I'll just keep saying that because he has made some errors there, both on the field and throwing side. So, we got to get that smoothed out a little bit, to be honest with you. And watched him yesterday. He had some good work, though. I'd like to keep him where he's at right now just because Josh is making a lot of progress. So it looks like he'll be facing live pitching here. And where Corey hadn't hit the field yet, so I'm going to keep Durant at short as much as I can. We do want to see him at first base. That's a plan to, maybe find him a starter, time or two there during the season, especially off a certain left-hander, give Nate a day. And, of course, I'm not sure where we're at with, when we break with the club as far as our other first basemen. But getting back to your point, yeah, he's got a little work to do there, and it's just probably a little rust more than anything.
With Zeke, I mean, whether it's spring training or when Corey was out last year, when he gets consistent everyday playing time, he hits really well. When it's a little more staggered, it tends to fall off. I know that happens with younger players, but how do you navigate that with a guy who, has that situation?
Yeah, not easy, really, to be honest, especially when you start the season. I mean, first of all, you start the season, you have a day off the next day, so it's not like those guys need a day. But we do have 17 consecutive games, but still, if he's not out there every day, this is a big adjustment for a young player, and I think he learned from last year, because I agree, more time to get out there, the more comfortable they're going to get on both sides, not just swinging the bat, but defensively, and that's why I'm trying to keep him at short right now. But that's why I mentioned first base, outfield, third base he's the guy that you're a little more conscious of getting that playing time to keep him to be the best version of himself. Smitty, I think, is a little more comfortable. He might not want to hear that, but I'm saying with, not getting that consistent time, the bats, he's probably a little bit more patient. But it's going to get better with Zeke, I think, with more experience.
Leclerc's supposed to pitch today. What do you see out of Leclerc in his first outing a few days ago?
Yeah, a little rusty, just getting his work in. Wasn't quite hitting the spots, but that stuff's good. When I look at him now compared to last year this time, believe me, it's so much better. So he's healthy. I look for him to, just improve on his location today, so he feels good.
What do you think the difference was for him early in the year when he struggled, and then October when he was great?
More than anything, just his health. If you go back at spring training, he was getting ready to go to the WBC, and we couldn't let him go because he wasn't, his stuff was down, his velocity, and he had that neck issue going on. And I think it was bothering more that he was letting us know. He wasn't sleeping. So I don't know exactly what it was, but it seemed like it was on a nerve or something, and it affected not only his stuff, but his command. So that was the difference. As he got healthy, then, you saw the guy that you saw the year before, and thank goodness it came at the right time because we needed him. And he feels good right now. So I don't know what brought that on, but in the early part of the season, he couldn't get rid of it. So that's why we had to kind of change his role.
He told us that, I guess he kind of changed his off-season work to try to come into camp healthy. Was that a conversation he had with you guys, or was that just something he did on his own?
Just something he did on his own, but, with our strength coaches and our medical staff, they probably did talk a little bit, but I'll be honest, I didn't have a conversation about that with him because I just assumed he would do that, with the workload that he carried, until November. He wasn't going to pitch or anything. I did see him a few times around Dallas, enjoying it, which he should have. So I'm glad he got his rest, because he did pitch a lot there the last 2 months. We worked him pretty good.
Between the health being in a better spot and what he did in the playoffs, does he just seem more confident this spring? Kind of between all those things.
Oh, I'd say so. You could see it in his eyes last spring. He knew something wasn't right. He just didn't have that confident look that he probably normally has. I didn't know him before, I saw him last spring, but it was evident now looking back that he knew he wasn't quite right. And when I had the conversation with him about him not going to the WBC, he didn't battle that one at all. It's like he knew, he shouldn't go. He's a smart guy, and I think he knew he had to get healthy.
How's Wyatt looked in the outfield?
He's looked fine. He's done a good job out there. Everyone threw it home, threw it right on the money. He's an athlete, ex-catcher.
Are you guys only gonna work him at
Right?
left?
You
You know I love a catcher.
yeah.
Are you guys only gonna work him at left or, all three,
We'll just
spots, or-
concentrate at left right now for the time being, but I think that's the best way to go because I really want him to get a lot of action. The early games, he wasn't getting anything hardly hit to him, but lately he's getting more action and he's handled it fine.
If something happened to Leody, Evan and Travis are in line in center, but Adolis is no more. Would you consider Adolis at all to play center? Or is he now just straight?
Well, he could, but
There's no need to.
yeah, no need to even think about it now with two center fielders. Just leave him where he's at. Yeah, so I don't see that happening.
You talked to John Shea the other day, who covered the Giants back when I did, so he's pretty old too. And you told him you didn't ever think, the years you didn't repeat in San Francisco, you didn't think pitchers' wear and tear was really an issue. Usually it was more you just didn't score enough when you needed to.
Right.
Obviously, you're probably not worried about this team scoring. Do you have any worries about wear and tear on any of the pitchers who got extended a little bit last year? I know some of them are hurt anyway. But
Right,
it's kinda-
and that's where I was going. When you look
Yeah.
back at their workload, it really wasn't that much because of going on the IL. Dane Dunning led the staff in innings. What he threw 180 somewhere in there, and so I'm not worried about him at all. That wasn't overworked either. So you might look at the bullpen and think, well, okay, those guys get used a lot, but Spores was on the IL a couple of times. Leclerc, we cut back his workload early. So there's really not anybody on the staff I'm concerned about. I did talk to Nate about it this offseason, and he says, look, I feel great. We got to be ready to go. And, the message I got out of that was, we got to show, that we're still hungry when we come out of shoot. And so that's his attitude. And he's throwing the ball well. I almost want to ice him right now because he's throwing the ball so well. But no, I didn't see that as a problem before. And I go back, in that time, we didn't have any injuries. They all made their starts, even the next year with the workload that they carried. And then you go to 2013. Nobody needed a break, and so I think part of it is what you're trained or get used to, and that plays a big part in it. And that's where the game has changed a little bit when you're bringing guys up. They just haven't gone deep in a lot of these games, so you do have to watch that. You can't jump them too quick. But those guys were built to, make their 30 starts and go deep in the game, and they did it.
Are you more inclined to take Nate out after 6 innings, or like Scherzer once he's pitching, just to watch those innings even more?
Times, no question. Yeah, there's time. Yeah. It's going to be critical. We keep these guys healthy, so we'll do all we can to do that. Monitor their workload and watch how the innings go. But that's the plan. We've talked about that.
Marcus is okay to play 179 games?
Yeah. A couple of days ago, I said he'll DH because he played the game. And I was going to give him a day off, but because of who was pitching, I said I'll DH. He goes, I'm good to go. You play me every game this spring. So he hasn't changed a bit. So I'll be battling that this year.